You might think that's a disconnect, but just this week, Mayor Michael Bloomberg of New York came out and said, hey, love this guy. And, of course, he meets Senate candidate Joe Sestak, who's behind in the polls. Bloomberg, by the way, started as a D, became an R, and now is an I. So, you know, is he just trying to expand his reach to the East Coast and for a nationwide platform? What's in it for him? Or does he really believe that, you know, Joe Sestak is the man, the right guy for the job in Pennsylvania? Toomey, by the way, ahead right now in the polls. What do you think?
I'm not sure how much it really helps Joe Sestak either way. I don't think it hurts him. I just don't think that Bloomberg is well known in Pennsylvania. Now, Bloomberg has great wealth, we all know that, and the ability to raise money. So perhaps that's what he's really doing for Joe Sestak. And if that's the case, then it will help him. But just an endorsement by a New York City mayor.
And did you find the issue, the mosque issue, obviously people on both sides of the aisle feel like, hey, they have a right to have a house of worship, but does it have to be right there where there's some issue with, you know, who blew up all of our beautiful buildings anyway?
You know what, it is an issue. I mean, I think it's disrespectful to a certain, you know, extent and stuff, not really looking at people's feelings, but they do have a constitutional right and all those things that people are saying. But Bloomberg coming in and supporting Sestak is really not going to help them. Because
seem like odd bedfellows to you?
Absolutely, but, you know, people tend to, you know, get with different folks, but I do like the RDI piece, which is very interesting to me. And it shows how he just jumps all over and does what he needs to do. And maybe he wanted to outreach into a different area.
Well, I think that coming in for Sestak was certainly a good idea. People were trying to paint Sestak as being so liberal. And Bloomberg coming in says, no, look, I think this guy's a good guy. He sort of fights the establishment, and that's why some people are against him. I think it's a fight for independence, a fight for the middle. The question is, I agree with Jim, I'm not sure whether or not that is going to have that kind of impact, but it certainly is not going to hurt him.
And P.S., the leader of the party, President Obama, is not exactly in a lot of folks' good graces these days for midterm elections, so you can't necessarily ask him to swing by and campaign for you if you're Joe Sestak.
Well, yes, and it was the president that made the mosque an issue in not just races in Pennsylvania, but all over the country. You saw Harry Reid scramble away from the president's statement. The president's done this a couple of times, and he let the issue of whether he supported the mosque or not hang out there for a while. Then he chose Ramadan to make a big political statement of unequivocal support for the mosque, obviously to get support from the Muslim community. That didn't go over very well, and he backtracked the next day, and he's made a real mess out of this, and he's hurting his party's candidates in many states, like Pennsylvania.
I don't think, I mean, it's a tough issue, and I clearly see, you know, positions on both sides of it. I don't think it's going to be an election issue in the end. I think it's very personal to a lot of people. It's about 50-50 as to whether or not people think it's right or wrong as to whether or not the mosque will be there. I think in the end, November elections are going to be about the economy, and it's going to be about jobs, and these other kind of issues are not going to be central issues.
Okay, quickly before we finish, let's